Well, look, let's move on, because after years of leading The Guardian Australia's political coverage, Katharine Murphy has quit and will now work for Labor Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's office. You might recall Murphy as being the author of some of the most pretentious, self-righteous articles about ethics in politics. She has also been critical of journalists and their bosses being too close to politicians.
Politics and media moguls are too close, that there is this symbiosis that can send the whole thing, well, cancerous, for want of a better word? Or do you think that things have run off the rails in more contemporary times?
Well, the irony of Murphy making those comments to Malcolm Turnbull, of all people, who bragged in his memoir that he personally helped to establish The Guardian, the place she works. Now, putting aside the rank hypocrisy of a hard-left, snooty reporter harping on about ethics at every opportunity, now accepting a job working with a Labor Prime Minister, there is also the issue of how long she knew she was going. Murphy has shamelessly barracked for one side of politics in a role which required objectivity. She's also been responsible for some of the most inane political observations ever published, some written with more venom than sense, more contempt than logic. For example, last year she wrote, "Peter Dutton is the exploding fire hydrant of politics, pushing his party to the angry fringes and electoral oblivion." An exploding fire hydrant, really? So how long has this person known she was going to work for Labor? Was she accusing the opposition leader of being an inanimate object of hate and leading The Guardian's political coverage while planning the move? There are serious questions this raises about credibility within The Guardian newsroom and in Albanese's own office. But it isn't even the fact that Murphy has jumped ship to become a spin doctor, trading away all pretense of credibility. The Guardian also runs this disclaimer at the bottom of every article when it begs for donations. Any act of support, however big or small, will enhance this work, powering journalism that remains free from commercial or political interference. Give just once from $1, or better yet, power us every month with a little more. Perhaps some people are entitled to a refund. Now, David, obviously, journalists come back and forward between working as press secretaries all the time. It's very common in the industry, and I've got no issue with people that want to try the dark arts and maybe want to come back. The thing that I found humorous about Murphy, Murpharoo as she calls herself, is that she has been publicly critical of the relationship between politics and journalists.
Yeah, it's a little bit cute. I mean, if you're going to run such a sort of hard line and such a pure line about the separation of the press and executive government, you probably shouldn't go down that path lest you are prepared to risk looking like a massive hypocrite. To your point about people moving around, over the years, I mean, I'm a News Corporation lifer. I've been working for the company for more than 30 years. And in that time, I've seen a lot of colleagues leave News and become political advisors or press secretaries. And I've seen them go to Labor politicians. I've seen them go to Liberal politicians, national politicians. I've seen a couple go to the Greens and the old Australian Democrats. From the other side of the media divide, though, ABC/Guardian, it does seem to be all one-way traffic towards the ALP. I don't know too many people who have left the ABC to go and work for the Libs, for the coalition. And look, I think I've got no personal quarrel with Katharine Murphy. She clearly wore her ideological heart on her sleeve. I mean, she wrote that piece last year about Peter Dutton's role in the referendum, which had the line, "We see you, Peter Dutton," which was aimed more at a sort of bolshy Twitter audience than an online news audience, I thought. It had a hectoring, almost menacing tone. So in a way, her working for Alba was really a sort of formal thank you for services already rendered, I'd argue.
Yeah, and I think Peter Dutton, to your point, David, I think Peter Dutton had picked up on that as well, because he actually tweeted out quite scathing of Katharine Murphy, David Crowe as well, from the SMH, was in his spotlight, suggesting, well, maybe David Crowe, the political editor of the Sydney Morning Herald, could be next for the job. I thought that was maybe a little bit too much. He's not Katharine Murphy.
No, he's not. I used to work with David, actually. He's a good guy, a little bit snarky. But yeah, look, Katharine's not the first, won't be the last. It's a revolving door, as you say, between politics and journalism. The skill's very transferable. You can see why it happens. But you might think that if they were looking to kind of beef up their, add a bit more heft to their office, they might look to other parts of the media to try and connect with different parts of the electorate that maybe they're not gaining traction with at the moment. Because I
Swing
think
further left.
Well, I don't think the average Guardian reader is someone that the government are failing to really connect with at the moment. So they might have, be better.
It's a really interesting move, because a position like that, the media advisor, you have to almost be heard but not seen.
Yeah.
And she's got a very big presence, and she's got a lot of opinions. It'll be interesting to see if that creates a bit of drama. You can't outshine the boss.
It's so true. You should never be the story as a spinner or comms advisor.
Yeah, well said.